At the local harbor, Tyler and his date Margot wait for the boat that will take them to a private island where they'll dine at Hawthorne, an extremely exclusive restaurant operated by the best chef in the country. Tyler is a foodie and an avid fan of this chef and the art of fine dining. Upon arrival, the two are amazed at the number of important individuals who will be traveling with them. There's Lillian, the food critic that discovered the chef, and her editor Ted, post-prime actor George with his assistant and girlfriend Felicity, and a trio of important tech business investors, Dave, Soren, and Bryce. The ones that catch Margot's eye are businessman Richard and his wife in. However, because Margot knows Richard and doesn't want him to know she's there, she tries to stay out of his sight. As they travel, they have already been treated to the first fancy meal, which Tyler raves about while posing for a picture, but Margot isn't impressed. When they finally reach the island, the maitre d' Elsa calls Margot by a different name, so Tyler has to explain that they had to change their plans and that he had come with a different date. And it's a pretty awkward situation. There is a tour before dinner and Elsa demonstrates to the guests all the facilities, explaining to them that the restaurant's employees do all the hunting and farming, which is why everyone lives here. The chef also resides on the island, but his house is out of bounds. Then they finally get to the restaurant and find it's an open space where they can see the chefs at work. There's also an old lady named Linda on one of the tables who looks like doesn't belong at all. Finally, Richard sees Margot and requests his wife to swap seats with him for a better view. Elsa informs everyone that they can watch the cooks work, but pictures aren't allowed. Tyler immediately comes closer to point out all the techniques they're using and asks tons of questions, so the cooks have to ask him to stop distracting them. Chef Slowik then comes in and Elsa tells him something that makes him look at Margot. The first dish is the free appetizer. Lillian takes time to smell and taste all the food, but Felicity is trying to end her relationship with George. Margot likes the dish but isn't super into it, so Tyler has to arrogantly explain why this is so important. In a flash, it's time for the first course. Slowik steps forward and claps his hand, and all his cooks turn around at the same time, like little soldiers. Then he gives a speech about his work and reminds everyone that they should not only eat, but savor and relish, and Tyler tries to make a comment about that, but only gets scolded by Slowik for interrupting. Tyler still takes pictures even if it's forbidden. For the second course, Slowik claps again and explains that bread's the food of the common man, but since his guests aren't common, thus they aren't getting any bread. The next dish is a breadless bread plate, with just little bits of the savory side dishes on the plate. Tyler really enjoys it, while Margot finds it insulting. Lillian believes the emulsion is a bit split, and in a twist of irony, they send her a full bowl of the emulsion to her table. The tech bros think the joke is running too far and ask for bread, but they're denied even when they point out they work for Doug Verrick, the actual owner of the island. To shut them up, Elsa creepily tells them that they will eat less than they desire and more than they deserve. Margot won't eat her dish, and Tyler attempts to eat it as well, but ends up breaking a glass in the process. Slowik immediately comes to the table and Tyler tries to apologize, but the chef is more interested in knowing why Margot isn't eating. There is no food, says Margot, and Slowik says he made sure to make the portion small so she won't fill up if she doesn't eat. Slowik leaves, leaving Margot to look at the dish, but she still will not touch it, and to everyone's surprise, Slowik asks Linda if she is okay. Margot can't help turning to look at Richard and notices this, causing her to point out that Margot looks like their dead daughter. Richard pretends he doesn't know Margot and asks his wife to change the subject. With another clap, Slowik announces the third course called Memory, which prompts him to share a memory about his family's old taco nights. He reveals Linda's his mother, and that she's been drunk since he was a kid. His father was a drunk first, and one night, Linda called him out for it, so the man tried to kill her with the phone cord. To save his mother, little Slowik grabbed a pair of scissors and stabbed his father in the thigh, but now he regrets not having killed him. To honor that special taco night, the dish features a smoked chicken thigh with a pair of scissors in it, on top of a phone cord. The tortillas were made fresh, but to add a touch of innovation, they've been engraved with a laser machine. Everyone is disturbed by the story, but things get even more awkward when they discover the memories on the tortillas. Lillian sees photos of restaurants that closed due to her negative reviews, and is shocked to see photos of her husband's private life. One of them depicts Richard going out with a weird girl, but Richard promises it's a joke. George stumbles upon images of himself as Dr. Sunshine, a movie that was a flop when it was released, and the tech bros are upset when they discover their company's tax records showing that they have been writing fake invoices with bogus charges. Elsa won't say how they got that information, and when the men threaten to close up this place, Elsa cryptically says it won't be necessary. Tyler imagines himself taking pictures of the food, and believes Slowik hates him. Margot is insulted by the pictures and wants to return the dish, but Tyler snaps at her and calls her a child for not behaving properly. When Margot is hurt, she wants to go to the bathroom, but Elsa runs to try to prevent her from entering a forbidden silver door. When she makes it to the bathroom, Margot gets close to the window to have a smoke and notices an employee running with a pair of angel wings in his arms. Slowik then asks Margot why she hasn't eaten since he is hurt by her attitude, but Margot simply replies that she is not that hungry. Slowik also wants to know who she is, and when she tells him she's Margot from Nebraska, Slowik doesn't believe her. A moment later, the cooks start the preparations for the fourth course by putting a piece of fabric and some decorations on the floor. Slowik welcomes everyone to Jeremy, one of his sous chefs, who makes the next dish, the mess. Slowik says he's a talented chef, but he doesn't believe Jeremy is great. He studied at an important culinary school and has always wanted to work for Slowik. Jeremy may want a life full of prestige like Slowik's, but Slowik thinks his life is full of pressure, not to mention all the unhappy customers and critics that won't appreciate his work. Slowik asks Jeremy if he wants that life, and when he says no, Slowik kisses him on both cheeks and steps back before Jeremy pulls a gun out. Then Slowik announces the fourth course and Jeremy finishes it off in front of everyone. This doesn't surprise the other cooks, who look solemnly at the other guest, but all the guests are shocked and step back, except for Tyler, who finds this fascinating. As the body is removed, Slowik asks everyone to sit down and take this as part of the show. Everyone begins discussing if the death had been real or not, and Richard has had enough. He tries to leave within, but Elsa stops him, explaining there's no available boat. Richard still insists, causing Elsa to order the chefs to grab him and get his ring finger. Everyone else begins to get anxious again, except for Tyler, who is still eating his meal without a care in the world. Elsa puts the broken wedding ring back in Anne's hands, while Richard is crawling around on the floor in pain. Slowik again tells her that this is part of the menu and Lillian says that she accepts it, but the others are beginning to get afraid. Felicity wants George to have a talk with Slowik since supposedly they're friends, but George confesses he lied to impress her. Elsa takes Margot to the kitchen, where Slowik tells her that she is wrong. He can see that she's not a Margot, and that's a problem because she wasn't part of the original menu plan. Slowik asks Margot whether she's with the guests or with the restaurant, but it doesn't matter because everyone is dying tonight anyway. Tyler continues to talk about the food and Margot runs back to her table in tears and slaps him. The entire atmosphere in the restaurant is tense and nervous. Soren goes off his rocker and attempts to smash a window with the chair, but it's unbreakable glass, so Elsa takes him back to his table. Tea is served as a palate cleanser and Slowik asks if anyone has any questions. Tyler asks a stupid question about the tea and George saves the day, asking what is happening. Slowik explains their ingredients and a degustation concept, but this shouldn't be a surprise. For instance, Lillian is a monster who makes restaurants close due to her personal taste and Ted coddles her. The cooks give Lillian more broken emulsion and Elsa gives Margot a kitchen timer stating that she has 10 minutes. Then and asks for a doctor for Richard, so Slowik points out they've been the most loyal customers for 5 years yet they can't name a single dish they've eaten here. Slowik's passion was to become a very exclusive chef, but it was only recently that he realized that he has been working to please people who cannot be pleased, such as his own mother. Bryce reminds Slowik that the restaurant is actually owned by Doug Verrick, but Slowik continues to refer to it as his restaurant. Slowik replies he actually owns Doug himself, and at that moment it's revealed that Doug is hanging outside while wearing the angel wings. Dave tries to offer money to save him, and when Slowik turns him down, he tries to run away, only to be stopped by the staff. Bryce mentions that Slowik had been open during the pandemic, but Slowik says that Doug kept asking him about his menu. Elsa makes a sign with her arms and Doug is lowered into the sea until he drowns, prompting Slowik to announce he's finally free before going to his office. Suddenly the timer on Margot's table goes off and she is told to go and see Slowik. Margot says she isn't supposed to be here, and Slowik says he can tell Margot's a fellow industry worker. He wants to know why Margot kept looking at Richard, and she finally admits that she's a street worker. Richard had been one of the few clients that had managed to rattle her as he wanted her to act as his daughter when they were getting frisky. Both Slowik and Margot agree that they used to enjoy serving others and bad clients have made them hate their jobs. Afterward, Slowik takes everyone outside. The next course is from sous chef Catherine, who has tried to catch her eye many times, but she has always refused Slowik, who didn't shoot her, but stopped looking in her eye, which inspired the next dish, Man's Folly. Then Catherine stabs Slowick on his leg, hugs him and stains his chef uniform with blood, and Slowick apologizes. Now the male guests have a chance to get out. They will have a 45-second head start and then the staff will attempt to catch them. All the men begin running except for Tyler, so Slowick has to send him out there while Catherine takes the women inside. The women sample the 6th course, sharing a table with Catherine, who tells them that she had the idea of everyone dying. Lillian's compliments make her cry, and all the other ladies begin offering compliments as well to keep her happy, and asks Margot if she knows her husband, and Margot admits she does, but doesn't comment on it. Margot ends up admitting her real name is Erin and she's from Massachusetts. Tyler observes them from the outside through the window, since he is missing a course. In the meantime, the staff runs to the men and finds that there is no problem with them, whether they went to the forest or to the beach. Ted hid in the smokehouse, and for his efforts he's given a passered egg. All the men are brought back to the restaurant and George sarcastically apologizes to Felicity for being a failure, which makes her admit she's been stealing money from him. George knew and Felicity knew he knew. Suddenly Slowick says that the menu cannot proceed as it was scheduled until they resolve an unsolved issue. He walks up to Tyler and makes him admit that he always knew that tonight's dinner would feature Everyone Dies. Tyler had a date, but his girlfriend dumped him and he hired Margot because the restaurant didn't accept reservations for just one, but he didn't care about the death of Margot. This surprises Margot and she attacks Tyler, but the staff soon separates them. Next, Slowick remarks on the amount of knowledge Tyler has about food and gives him a chef's uniform before heading into the kitchen, where he asks Tyler to cook in front of everyone, even if Tyler does not want to. Tyler's cooking is a disaster because Slowick constantly teases him about being Mr. Knowledgeable Foodie. Slowick tells Tyler he's the reason the mystery has been sucked out of his art, and whispers something in his ear that makes Tyler run away in tears, removing the chef jacket. Slowick then goes to Margot's side and asks her for a favor. They need a big barrel to prepare dessert, which they should have in the corner, but Elsa forgot to bring. Slowick tells Margot to go get it and ignores Elsa when she says that the staff can do it. As she is leaving, Margot finds out that Tyler has broken up with himself, but that doesn't matter to her. Then Slowick returns to the dining area, where George points out that this isn't really fair. Slowick says that George is being punished because he saw Dr. Sunshine some years ago and spoiled the first day off he'd had in months. On the other hand, Felicity'll die because she graduated from Brown University without any student debt. Meanwhile, Margot makes it to the smokehouse, but instead of grabbing the barrel, she grabs a knife. She then sneaks into Slowick's house, which is a replica of the restaurant, but with a bed in it. Margot attempts to escape through the silver door, but is stopped by Elsa, who also has a knife and tells her that this is an out-of-limits area. Suddenly Elsa attacks Margot, explaining she doesn't want to be replaced. Margot is protecting herself with items from the kitchen, while pointing out that she doesn't want to work here, but Elsa says she didn't forget the barrel, Slowick just never asked for it. Both women end up on the floor, and as they try to keep the knife away from her, Margot accidentally kills Elsa. Once Margot has calmed down, she takes Elsa's keys and opens the silver door. There she discovers a simple room, where Slowick's memories are of a time when he was younger, happier, with a family, and a job making hamburgers. There's also a radio in the room and Margot attempts to call for help. When Bryce returns to the restaurant, they give him a cake since his friends told the restaurant that it was his birthday. Suddenly, Margot comes in with the barrel through the main door and Slowick tells her that he used to be a monster, but now he does everything pure. His hands are so powerful that he can touch fire without feeling any pain, since he can't be hurt anymore. Suddenly a boat comes towards the island, and Slowick sees that Margot used the radio. The staff immediately cleans all traces of blood from everyone and Slowick makes a threat. If the guests ask for help, then an innocent man will die. Coast Guard Dale walks into the restaurant and asks what the issue is, but no one is brave enough to speak up. Then, George notices Dale and asks him for an autograph, since he is a big fan of Dr. Sunshine, so George pretends to give it to him. When Dale is about to leave, he discovers the piece of paper actually says "Help us" and takes out a gun, ready to defend the guests that now are brave enough to speak. Dale holds the gun to Slowick's head for a few seconds, but then suddenly turns around and points the gun at the candle on Margot's table, which turns out to be a lighter that looks like a gun. Dale is not a Coast Guard, he's another member of Slowick's staff, and now he can get back to the kitchen. Slowick's very disappointed in Margot for having betrayed him and declares her to be as bad as the other guests. Margot recalls what she saw in the house and decides to take a chance. Then she claps to catch Slowik's attention and tells him that she doesn't like his food and that she would like to send it back. Slowik is taken in by Margot's cunning ways, as she explains that all the dishes were a brain teaser and not for enjoyment. She's still hungry, so she wants to eat a proper cheeseburger, not some fancy, deconstructed poop. For the first time in the day, Slowik smiles and accepts to prepare a traditional cheeseburger with fries for $9.95. All the cooks are amazed at how much fun Slowik is having making a traditional cheeseburger, which he proudly gives to Margot. Margot takes a bite and says it's good, but it's too much for her to eat, so she wants the rest to go. Slowik puts her in a trance and she does what he tells her to do. When Margot has her bag, Slowik leaves a $10 bill and she leaves the restaurant. As she is leaving, Margot hesitates, as the others are still in danger, but then tells her with a gesture to go. Slowik reminds everyone that it's time to pay, while Margot manages to get to the harbor and get off the boat Dale left behind. Under a no-tip system, the cost is $12.50 per head, and everyone receives a bag of goodies containing one of Doug's fingers. Credit cards are handed over, and a few moments later Slowik says it's time for dessert. The cooks begin decorating the floor as if it was a plate. Then they put chocolate hats and marshmallow vests on the guests. Slowik reminds everyone that they are the destruction of his life and now they shall be a part of it, so the dessert shall be the most offensive attack on the human palate. This is usually prepared over a fire, thus Slowik grabs a lump of coal from the oven with his bare hands and announces a cleansing as he throws it on the decorations the cooks left, causing a fire that takes over the restaurant and all the people in it. As the restaurant burns, Margot halts the boat to finish her cheeseburger and uses the restaurant menu that was in the gift bag to wipe her mouth. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movie and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.